I don't know if you want to. I don't know if you want to even talk about that, but like, if you think about it, what he's doing, it's like, so what are you doing? Like, just going across the country in a van? Like, hey, so what are you doing? Just going across the country, like fishing?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
You know what
You
I'm
know,
saying? Like,
I
it's
mean, that's what I kind of like. That's how I can relate to that. Like, he's been home a couple months, and it's wild. It's wild how much the kids follow what you do, which is nuts. Like, even my Nan and Lil, they're in high school. They're playing uh soccer, and they're like, oh well, weightlifting's going on too. So like, they're doing both. So it's like we're at a soccer game or a weightlifting match for 3-4 hours, and then we're over here at a soccer game, and I'm like, man, you guys are crazy. What are you guys doing? And then I think about when I was fishing all those tournaments, and dragging them from one to the next. It's just kind of like, they think it's normal. I guess I don't know.
well. So I know, like I said, I mean, and I know you've been down these conversations. When you tell someone what you do, or like the first thing, I'm sure everyone's like, the first thing is like, man, you got the best job in the world, right? And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
and then the other, you get that, or you get the so like so like that TV show, like y'all are out for days upon end, like they think of whatever those offshore fishing stuff,
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then but like no one ever, they think it's really cool because you're, I guess, semi success, like because you're still doing it, right? So
Right.
in my opinion, if you're fishing and you're making most of your money fishing, or like you're, how old are you now?
I just turned 40
Okay,
2 days ago.
so you're so like in fishing, success is kind of, I never looked at it as like how much money have you made. It's like, no, I'm still doing it.
Yeah, yeah, that's what people are like. How long are you gonna go for? And I'm like, until I run out of money.
Right.
Like,
I mean, so
yeah, until
success,
you go broke, pretty
right?
much.
Success was never about how much money I made. It's just
Yeah,
like, oh, you're still, because every once in a while someone will be like, oh, you're still doing it, so you must be pretty good. I'm like, that's the way I look at it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is funny that, like, because to me, I'm like, so what do you mean they're just driving around the country in a
Yeah, I mean,
van?
yeah, and it's wild. Like, the stuff that they're getting is like incredible. Like, I got them. They borrowed my drone and stuff, and they're like flying it like in the Grand Canyon, all kinds of crazy stuff. And but man, the other side of that is how much work it is to put all that stuff together. You know, to make videos or anything like that. So they're figuring out though. They got some cool stuff coming, and they're saving up. They got I guess another 2 months, and then they're gonna hit the road again. And but it was funny because I like told him, he was like, oh, we don't have the money to go, and I'm like, well, have you tried to go to the bank and get a credit card? you know like, oh, I'm a terrible parent probably,
Yeah.
but and that's what they did. They got credit cards and they took off, maxed them out, and now they're both back home, working, and then they're gonna take off again.
Did you ever do the whole video thing?
I mean, I've had with like, when Asian Rob's come stayed with me and stuff, we like shot some videos and stuff.
But
But I just don't, being around a lot of them guys doing that stuff and having the camera guy with you all the time, like the work that goes into that is incredible. Like, and yeah, I feel like I don't have time as it is, I just can't imagine trying to produce this whole thing with somebody else.
I do like the editing, because I get some people asking, and there's some stuff that's easy.
Hmm.
I say I'm not. I've learned, like, I tried for a while, like with Andrew and Hallman and stuff when we were
Hmm.
first doing it, and we were around Scott. We were try. I was. We kind of got where you like, hey, look what I just figured out how to do, and
Right.
we do these like pretty cool things every once. Like we were really, in the scheme of things, they were probably very. They weren't like this crazy awesome like editing thing, but to
Right.
us, I was like, look how I slow mode this and did that,
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, you'd put this crazy amount of work in a video and it'd get like, oh, whatever. And then you'd make the worst edited video, whatever, and like
Yeah,
kill.
yeah, yeah. Just like raw video seems like
Right.
that's seems to do the best.
Yeah. So I stopped, but I mean, editing, like, but then I still get in this weird, like, I don't know. I don't talk that much during tournaments. Like,
Right,
like I can I can get in a Coingler event
right.
and not speak the whole day.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
And it's not being whatever. It's just like I
Well,
don't think we're out there all the time,
our
hours
our
by ourselves anyway.
our
Yeah.
brains are different. Where I don't know if yours, mine's like racing. Like when I'm fishing, like my brain is constantly trying to piece the puzzle together. And nothing. I mean, the lake could be draining, or someone. I don't know how many times at the end of the day I see somebody and they're like, "Hey man, you were right by me. You went right by me. Did you catch it?" I was like, "Man, I never even saw you." And yeah, I
But
think that's yeah. I
do
don't
you
know.
know why I wanted to do? So I've wanted to do this with you for a while. I'll go into this before I get into this.
Okay.
So Russell comes back from the Vexus plant, right? And he's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I talked with John, and I'm like, all right." And he was like, he said, "Hey, did you watch any of his video? Like something about a video, or something?"
Yeah.
And when he said that, I'm like, "Oh, John's watched one of my videos. That's cool."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, man." They were talking about how like I talk in circles or whatever. He's like,
Yeah.
"We're done." John, he's like, "I follow him perfect." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Yeah.
finally," because there's a
Yeah.
couple
Yeah.
people
I
who
know.
who get it, and then
Yeah.
others are like,
Yeah.
I don't.
It's the way our brains are, I think. And that's what I think my kids are very similar. You know, just like when you're talking and then you like jump over to something, your mind's it's hard to, focus on what you have
To me,
right
it's
in front of
not
you.
like I try to explain people like if I had a one track mind in fishing,
Hmm.
I think like how do I put this? In my opinion, in fishing, like you get one bite. So like you get out on a lake, you get out there the first time you get a bite,
Right.
and it's before I even get a bite, like it's just constantly like I'm thinking about stuff, and then I finally get one, and I'm like, all
Mm.
right, cool. And then there's like 1,000 things going on in my head, and then I get another one,
Yeah.
and then within minutes, like especially with me and Russell, if
Yeah.
he's like practicing somewhere, like on the lake too, and we're both
Right.
practicing for an event, we're calling each other, and within seconds, we're already going, "Hey, well, they're on the." It's already like we've already figured out what we think is the deal,
Yeah.
but we've tried to put in like thousands of different things in like the computer to try to figure it out.
Right.
That's why I guess some people do. People not think that way
I
because
don't I don't know. I mean, that's
I
that's how
assume
I
you do.
that's yeah, that's how I do it too. I mean, it's just, wait for that first bite, and like that one bite, even if it's a missed bite or like a wake or a boil or you see a fish, just that one clue, you know, usually like instant it's like, okay, I know what's happening,
It
you make that educated guess right away, and try to
getting
run it.
like I have these things that I always process in my head too. There was one like Russell. I think we're on Falcon, and he was
Mhm.
like, we were getting somebody. He's like, "Hey, they're all on points." And now, if I said a point to you, and I think if I
Mhm.
said a point to like 99% of people, they're going to think of a point that like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, yeah, I mean, kind of." He was like, "Well, look where you got bit, and look where I
Yeah.
got bit." And I'm looking at it, and we were on Falcon or something, and Falcon was like this, and all of a sudden, for like 2 miles, you see this like that
Yeah.
right there. He's like, "That's a
Yeah.
point," and I go, "Well."
Yeah.
Kind of. He's like,
Yeah.
it's a point. And I
Yeah.
go, all right. And so his mind worked like that too, that I was like, well, I guess he is right. And he took points so subtle, but
Yeah.
it made me so much better at like looking at that because I'm like, God, okay, if he's looking at it that way and I'm looking at points in another way,
Yeah.
I started doing that more, like taking what he thought too. And I was like, oh, that's pretty, like taking those things that I would have thought of either. I
Right.
wouldn't have ever considered this 1 mile long thing that was
Yeah.
a
To be an actual point. Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
And those are the things that like I think some of us, I'm sure you look at stuff way different than me too. Um, but you can't really ask someone what that is. Like me and
Right.
Russell can do it because we're talking for hours on hours with each other.
Right.
But for you, like I'm gonna try my best to go into this with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got some
Yeah.
questions for you.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of I know exactly what you're talking about, but it is crazy how, you and Russell could talk about something and me and you would be completely different, because we haven't fished together, and
Eventually, we would be on point. Yes.
right, right. And that I noticed that also for like when I watched Keith Carson on Bass Pro Tour, or whatever, and he's fishing, he's throwing, and it's crazy when I'm like, oh man, pick up the swim jig, I'm thinking of it in my head, and then all of a sudden, he picks it up, and I'm like, oh, it's like it's kind of. I think it's when you spend that much time around somebody, you end up, you guys end up making the same decisions when the conditions change and everything, and
it happens a lot. It sounds very stupid and cliche about like finishing someone's sentences, but we'll be out there and we'll get a bite, and he'll be like, in 5 minutes will go by and nothing, and he'll go, well, that, like, I know it was on the corner of the side, like I already picked up. It's like, we don't say anything to each other, but we are already like thinking the same thing, and it just, we just were quiet about it, and then eventually it comes out like, yeah, I know, like, okay, and we just keep on going.
Yeah. I want to say, so we always knew when we were locked in and felt like we were gonna win the tournament is when I would either pick him up or he would pick me up, and we would have the same long sleeve sun shirt on, same color and everything. And we're like, oh man, it's gonna be one of those days, And I mean, I don't know how many times we won tournaments just being dialed in, even, it's just crazy.
So I don't know where you want to, like, I've got to talk. So Russell, I've been around the things with you I want to talk about, because like it's weird. I think I've never met someone that I think I fish more like than you, but sometimes completely opposite, but doing the same thing.
Right.
Or maybe we look at it differently. And so I've always been around here where I always like the guy I was always doing different stuff than everyone else.
Right.
I prided myself on trying to figure that out. I prided myself on trying to win tournaments on a frog, which team tournaments on a frog are like way harder than like a 3-day event, because I mean, you got some guy out there sitting on a brush pile all day long. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's sometimes hard to beat that guy out there. But my favorite things to do is sight fish and frog fish. Those are like 1 and 2. I would take sight fishing over all of it. Yeah. And it's probably the one, well, I'll get into this in a second, but like, so sight fishing was the one thing that Russell just so happened was really good at. And then me and him got together, and like, that was awesome. And we don't talk sight fishing with anyone else. I talk about sight fishing with Ish.
Right.
But we don't really get into the specifics because we've never been on the boat with each other.
Right.
I've got to see you sight fish either on camera. I've been around you. I've seen you like once when I fished the tour, but I really was never. There was only like one time. It was both times in Florida.
Right.
Man, it really pissed me off when the 2 times on tour, we never got to sight fish.
Right.
It just. Clark Winlet told me that one time. I was like, man, if I ever got on tour, like, I'm gonna kill. He's like, dude, you might go a couple years and never get to sight fish on tour.
Right.
And I was like, what? Yeah. He's like, yeah, you don't understand. And then I got to see it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was tough. It was tough at times. And then I see a sight fishing event on camera, and it drives me insane that I'm like, we never got one of those.
Yeah, we never had Yeah.
I mean, is that something that, like, I've seen them a little bit on the elites now. I mean, are y'all getting more of them, or?
So I think we have. I want to say we probably started getting more. Well, not a ton more, but just the last couple of years we've gotten quite a few. Where all the guys, all the top guys were sight fishing, but I don't remember what year was it on FLW, because I remember there was a couple years there we didn't, like, man, everywhere we went we
Toho and Harris Chain.
Yep. Harris was late.
You caught a 10. You caught a 10 on Harris Chain.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That one made me mad.
Yeah, but that one wasn't on a bed. I just caught that one casting.
No. I'll take that back. That one on Harris Chain.
Oh.
Toho.
Okay.
You caught one.
Yeah, I caught a 10 something.
Day one.
Yeah.
You had an early boat number than me.
Oh.
It was right takeoff.
Oh yeah. That was like a 9 something. I told.
Okay.
I told Bill Taylor, I was like, "Hey, watch this one I'm gonna catch in the morning." And
Right. And so
right.
I knew where that one was, but I wasn't worried because I had a later boat number. That I
Yeah,
did not than you. Then I was like in the 70s.
yeah,
So I was like, man, I don't know if I'll get that one, but I had another one that I'm not even going to say who did it. This was the dumbest thing I'd ever seen. That I had one and I found it was like a 7 and like a 5, and there
yeah,
was a 3 real close. I could catch all of them.
yeah,
And I went back there at the end of the day to like, I mean, just inside, like I didn't even go up to it. I just was wanting to
yeah,
like see if it was,
yeah,
and I went up there and there was a guy like rigging up.
yeah.
And I was like, you dummy. Like, okay, whatever.
Like, yeah,
Like
yeah,
sitting on there rigging up for the day. It was the last day. And so I was
yeah,
like, all right, we'll see if I even get a chance. So I roll over there in the morning. He 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 was he set on the fish, and his buddy went over there and started on it.
right,
And then he went up there too, and they both weighed in like 1 or 2 feet. They both had like 14 pounds. Like they didn't catch anything with it. And I
right.
was sitting there going, it just, they just ruined the whole thing. Cause I'd much rather just have a guy go out there and like blast them.
Yeah,
And I shook my head, and then I had other fish, and I think I did horrible that day. And then I had one sneaky spot.
yeah,
I don't know anything about those lakes. I don't know where
yeah,
places are called, but it was down the lake on the right, randomly, like just straight bank. There's like one
yeah.
big dock that sticks out there. Anyways, I found like there was like 20 of them.
Wow.
They were all gone the next day.
Yeah,
I did horrible. The next day, I found a bunch of fish down by the lock,
yeah,
and I was like, yeah, everyone's gonna find those. They're not big ones. I went down there on day 2 and said, I'm just gonna put my head down. Ended up catching after everyone had been through there on day 1, and I just day 2, I caught a couple threes, found and then found one like a 7, and then ended up catching this. I mean, I caught some sneaky ones, and ended up with like
yeah,
22. And I
yeah,
was going, oh my gosh, if I had just had them. But you caught them. You caught them sight fishing. You did catch a big one on swimming a
yeah,
worm along
yeah,
the
yeah,
paths.
yeah, yeah. I caught that. I had that 9 something in the morning off of bed, and then maybe only caught maybe one other one, like maybe a 4 or 5, and then I caught that 10 something, casting a worm right at the end of the day.
Like what
I
made me
mean, it was
mad.
just,
I
it
was
was,
flipping those pads and getting bit in practice, and then I couldn't catch them in the tournament.
yeah,
And so, but yeah, like it seemed like the only other one I think was the year before at Harris Chain,
hmm,
and I ran into you, and I don't know. I think I was going to barely make the cut, and on day 1, same deal. I had like, I can't remember if it was day 1 or day 2. I think it was day 1. Had like nothing,
yeah,
and I went down there to the canals
yeah,
and caught like 23 pounds and or something like that. But it seemed like I never got more than a 1 day deal. It was like a
right,
1 day, not like just load them up day. And it was never. It was like the second day. It was never like I went to the fish I knew were there and caught them.
right, right. Yeah, I don't feel like that. I feel like that doesn't work out barely anymore. Where
But it
you know,
used to.
well, I used to go mark them out and be all excited, not sleeping the night before. But I can't think of any tournaments recently where I've like run to fish from practice and caught them off beds. I just I don't know. I
I'll
don't
tell
know.
I'll tell you the other one. I think you. I don't know if you did or not. The Chickamauga event. You made the
Uh-huh.
cut.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think on like day 3, it was like raining and you were throwing a swim jig.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did you catch them? So
I I think I caught them the first day sight fishing, like 25 or 26 pounds. But I don't think they were on beds. Those were just swimming, one swimming. I
well,
caught like an
so
8 and a 9 or something.
so what's crazy is day one, I caught like 11 in practice fishing the
Right?
grass down south, and I had some fish marked on beds like down south,
Yeah.
and I was frogging them up north,
Yeah.
but I was like, man, but I caught 11 and 8 and a 5 in like 30 minutes in the
Oh my
grass,
oh my
and then I
gosh.
had some big ones like I only need 2 or 3 sight fish. That's all I'm
Yeah.
gonna find, and I think I went and caught. I think I was in like almost dead last. I think I had
Yeah.
4 for 7 pounds The frogfish, it was horrible. The next day,
Yeah.
I stayed up. Frog fished up like a 4-pounder and was coming by, and Luke was sitting on one of those places, and I drive by him, and he's like catching them like every cast. He's like on
Yeah.
one of them spring things
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about.
Yeah.
And I drive by him, he was like, I'll tell the story a bunch. He's like, come on over here and like you can catch some of these fish. I'm like, I've never done that before in my life. I made
Yeah.
like 2 casts and said, I don't like this, Luke. And I
Yeah.
left.
Yeah.
And he's
Yeah.
like, just go down the bank throwing a wacky rig. And I'm like, I don't even have anything to throw. I don't even have one of those tied on. Or like, I
Yeah.
don't even have it in a boat. And I started just flipping down the bank and caught a couple. And I felt pretty good. And I went over there. I had those reeds. There's reeds all up there.
Oh yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
thrown at reeds a little bit and never had a bite for 4 days in practice or 3
Yeah.
days, however long
Yeah.
we got. And I cross over because I after worming it, and I get on these reeds and I look down, it's kind of clear.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I see this like 2-pounder swim off. And I'm like, I mean, 1 2-pounder.
Then the light switch.
Dude, it's all I needed. And I
Yeah.
went around this corner of this point, and there's a fish. It ended up being a 5-pounder. And it's like back and its tail's like out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like turning sideways in this bed because I guess the water had dropped overnight.
Yeah.
And this fish like can't figure out. And I put the brakes on and I'm looking around going, this isn't happening. Like, no way. I'm like, I've seen these fish before. You throw up there, it's going to go for 100 miles.
Yeah. Yeah.
I threw up there and she's like trying to get to it, but she couldn't turn around. It was so she swam out of the bed and swam back in to face it. And I ended up catching her and I said, oh, it's trouble. I had like 23 or 24 pounds that day.
Yeah.
And I just sight fished them all. And I was like, I had this the whole time. Like I could have done this.
Yeah.
And I did get a check. I went from like last place to like 40 something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then you caught him and it looked like you were somewhere up there.
Yeah. I'm trying to think which one. Was that a tour one or an open?
It was a tour. It
Tour.
was I'm trying to think who won it. Like you were up there to win it.
I might have won that one. I don't know. That one.
You might have won that one.
Yeah, because I think they.
It was a May one.
Yeah, I think because I won the one 2 weeks before the Bassmaster one or whatever, or maybe a month before, and then went to RFLW one, and somehow caught him in that one. But it was just like you said, that water got clear on the outside of that grass, and they were frigging everywhere.
Yeah, but like I could not catch them, which makes sense. But I mean, it was, man, that I don't know if it was like that for you, but like that first year or two on tour, it was such a learning experience, and it felt like I got better on year 2.
Yeah.
But it was the little, it was just little, it was like I was always a day behind, like learning something. And then if I could just get past that, I'd be fine. But it was like I just couldn't figure out the first day of things sometimes.
Right.
Not that I wouldn't catch them in practice. It was like I just had never run into a lot of that. Like I'd never fished any of that. I never fished Chickawaw. I mean, all those lakes we went to, I never fished any of that.
Right. And that's what I went, it took me probably like five good tournaments of not doing well to finally get a little bit of a hang of it there, where I mean, every tournament I fished a different part of the lake, until it was like, oh, okay. And then it was kind of like you said, you'd run in, fish an area, and you're like, oh, I know where the rest are going to be because I've already fished this section for a whole tournament before,
Well,
so it really it helped there for sure for me getting those. I mean, it was at least 5 different weeks that I spent there in tournaments, trying to figure it out,
on Chick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like, I remember
we were going there heavy there for a while. Like, I don't know, like when I first started, I remember my first year going there, I did terrible, finished like dead last. And, and it took so many times going to kind of piece it together a little bit,
Well, and it's weird because like you can do good, but there's a thing to winning. I'll give you an example. I wonder if it's true for you. So not growing up, but like it was this Texas deal. Like we were fishing a lot of Texas stuff. I'd go to other lakes, but it was like sight fishing around Texas. Like I had it down, right? Like
Hmm.
from the rod, the braid, like, because we never cared about, it was never about, and I try to tell people this about sight fishing. It's never about finding them for us or like getting them to bite. Like I've
Right.
been doing this for years upon years. I spent every day in the springtime sight fishing. So,
Right.
and it was the one thing that really made sense to me and came easy.
Hmm.
I would say when I say easy, it was like I loved it. I could do it 12 hours a day.
Right.
I'd sit on fish for 3 hours, learn. Like
Yeah.
there'd be an 8 pounder that I could catch on one flip and practice
Yeah.
like, goofing around, and there's a 2 pounder over here that I could not get to, and I would sit on that 2 pounder for hours.
Yeah. And
Because I'm
practice.
in my
Yeah.
head, I'm like, if I figure out how to catch that one, that
Yeah.
8 pounder eventually is, I'm going to find an 8 pounder like that 2 pounder.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And if I can catch that 2 pounder, the 8 pounder is the same way.
Right.
So I
Right.
got to learn how to catch the hard ones.
Yeah.
It was about landing fish, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, you got them all marked. You got the tournament won. It's just about landing fish.
Yeah.
So to me, I was always like making sure I did everything perfect to land fish.
Right.
And then we got up there. I went and fished Grand Lake for a Toyota. There's one home and one. It was my
Hmm.
first time there. I was leading the event after day one, and I still broke off like a 7 pounder, or I would have had
Hmm.
like a
You
really,
met
really
him
big
back.
lead.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the only one I lost that day. I lost and broke off fish for the next 2 days. I finished fourth, and I was
Hmm.
like, I walked away so pissed off at that event, and I was always throwing braid. I had everything in, and I had to like switch to fluorocarbon. And I wasn't like really that prepared for it. And everyone's gonna be like, "What do you mean you aren't prepared?" Well, setting the hook, sight fishing, and regular fishing is different, and that's
Right.
hard to explain. You'll agree, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It,
For sure.
it's you get caught up in weird angles and weird. It's weird,
Yeah.
and it sounds very. But I went home that next day and I never threw braid, and I figured out the hook, the everything down, and I was like, I'm just not gonna. I hundreds, thousands of sight fish for the rest of the year, for the next 2 years, just on fluorocarbon, trying to figure it down. Now I don't even throw braid hardly anymore unless I have
Really.
to. But it was little stuff like that. And then watching you catch them on a spinning rod, because I'm like, Russell would call me up and he goes, "What's John doing?" I said, "I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't get it." And so, but I went home and I'm like, you know what? There's going to be a time. Because there's going to be a time on a different lake where it matters. And
Yeah.
to this day, I probably go out there and catch minimum 1,000 fish on a spinning rod sight fishing a year. Seeing what I can get away with, like
Hmm.
seeing how bad I can really throw in something, or like just all kinds of stuff. Because
Yeah.
that's the stuff that I learned is like I took a little stuff of what, because I was like, I don't know why I'm going to need it, but I'm like, he's doing it. I trust John that he knows what he's doing. So I'm like, I might need it one time a year
Yeah.
where I live, but like, yeah, I've picked up some, like, I'll go out there and do that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. The spinning rod thing, that was kind of um like an accidental, like figuring that out was, I was doing a lot of guide trips, before I kind of, right when I first started fishing FLW and stuff, and I was taking these people fishing and we were throwing shiners, and a lot of the guys couldn't even use bait casters, so I'd always just rig them up, spinning rod with some fire line. And I was always at the end, of after doing all the guiding in the off season, I'd always be shocked how many big fish, these guys would catch 10 pounders on a spinning rod with that, with light fire line, and sometimes a leader, sometimes not. And then that's what I think that year, that's when I finally picked up the wacky rig, fought that forever. I fought that for like 5 years, like my first 4 or 5 years I really fought throwing it. And then the first tournament back, I think it was 2016, I was like, man, I'm gonna throw this wacky, where I practiced with it the entire off season, caught a ton of fish on it. And man, then that first warm up we had, I won at Hartwell with it, and it was just crazy. And then from then on, it just kind of uh it just opened my eyes to how many big fish you could catch. Even like, I can think of some of my most favorite catches were like where you said like throwing at places you really like, I can't get that fish out on a spinning rod, whether it was like, way back under a dock cable or whatever it is. And, some of those most memorable catches, I remember throwing the rod down through the water, going under the cables or whatever it might be, and or letting the fish come out. That was a huge uh, thing I learned over the years, was letting that fish eat it and get away from the cover before you set the hook on them. And then you could you could catch them on, that real light stuff. So that was,
I, I see. I don't. I don't really want to talk about too much like that. I don't think I've ever caught a sight fish on a wacky rig, but I do throw a spinning rod. And so I remember me and Russell are like, I've been doing it a bunch, and we were in this tournament and on Rayburn, and we were throwing a swim bait and we saw one, and I'm like, hey, there's one. It was a tough one, right? So a tough tournament. So I threw it there and we caught it. And we're like all up in the bushes and stuff. Like because you have to, sometimes Rayburn sucks sight fish.
Yep.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
So water was at a level, it wasn't great. And I look up there and I'm like, hey, and we're like, we just kind of look over there. I'm like, hey,
yeah.
He's like, what's it on? I'm like, I don't even see a bed. I don't know. She's just sitting there, and I'm like, like, don't move. And so we're like sneaking around the boat. And I'm like, hey, just throw me that spinning rod. He's like, huh? I'm like, just trust me. And he was like, what? And then, there's just bushes. There's a lane, but I'm like,
yeah.
And I'm like, all right. Because usually those fish, not on the bed, they're going to they're sunning or whatever. They're going to spook.
Yeah.
And I throw it over there. And I'm like, I don't even know if I can throw it, right? Because I'm like, I do whatever. I get it over there. And it's in some hay stuff. Like it's not clean bottom.
Yeah.
And it just hits the water. So it didn't spook her. And she's like, when's over there? And she's looking around. I kind of get it out of that thing. It's like, I'm like, got her. Get her in. It's a 4-pounder.
Yeah.
And Russell's like, he's seen everything. He's like, I can't believe you just did that. I said, I know, man. I'm telling you, I think I got it down. Like I'm this old, and I'm like, no, I think I got it. I think I figured something out. He's like, oh my gosh. He's like, let's try not to do that again. I'm like, yeah, I know, but it worked.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, it does. And then you do. I've lost some. It costs winning some tournaments with that spinning rod, but it's how it goes.
We still. I still have. I would say 95% of the fish I catch though is still. I throw 30-pound.
Yeah,
I throw 30-pound fluoro and still do it that way.
Yeah.
That's not going to change. But my always, and I'm always on some of these YouTube videos, I'm always telling people, I'm like, hey, look, man, because I did one about a couple of days ago about fishing line.
Yeah.
And I go, look, I'm not saying that. I think there's a little bit of over the time people got carried away with light line.
Yeah.
I think, whatever. And I said, but here's the deal. If I can catch 30 pounds of fish on 30-pound line, I'm not going to throw 25-pound line.
No.
And because I was like, if I can do it here, that extra 5 pounds is going to matter. Like you said, that there's going to be one limb, there's going to be one something. And I'm like, if I can erase that from the equation, then why would I go down to 25 if 30 makes it? And so my deal is always, I'm always trying to eliminate. To win a tournament, you got to eliminate that one thing where everyone else comes to weigh in. It was like, I lost this fish. And you're like, I didn't have that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with that completely. It's, for me, it's so hard, especially with a lot of these places we go, and, and how good everybody is now, with sight fishing and all that. Like, I feel like it is hard. For me, it's harder to go up on the line as much, just because I just feel like I can't get them to eat it all the time. But that is, I look back over this year and I look at the fish that I lost or had, or broke off, because they got into stuff. And if you take those misses out, man, the year ends up being incredible.
I'll be honest. Here's how I use it now. My first cast every time is with that, and I might do it for an hour, depending on how big of a fish it is.
Right.
you know how with sight fishing. I mean, we all look at it as I only need 5 bites. You know the five
Yeah.
bites you need. If it's a 1 day deal, and over 3 days, you've got to like manage your time. But I'm always sitting there going, okay, if I can do this, and depending on if there's no other fish,
Right.
like there's not a, like I can't believe I found one more. That might be the
Yeah.
last one I see for the day. That's another one. I'm gonna throw I'm gonna to the last second. But then if there are some times where I'm like, hey, just throw the spinning rod in there. If we lose it, no big deal. But it's an extra 3 pounder.
Yeah.
We're probably
Yeah.
gonna call it. And so I'll do that just to speed up the process of going,
Right.
hey, well, maybe we need to go look for some more. But
Right.
I can catch it 10 minutes quicker. It's gonna
Yeah.
save me 10 more minutes.
Yeah, yeah, no, that is true, and that was the whole thing. A lot of the places, even on Chick, we were so crowded in some of those places. It was like, man, I want to catch them as quick as I can, to get to that next one before that next guy gets to it.
Right.
And I think that's where that, like I think one of those opens that I somehow won there. I think we had like 200 guys, so it was like a zoo. Like it was like you would have to like you would go in and be like, hey man, could I go in, go behind you, and you were like, and man, like you said, it was just that much quicker
Did,
that I was able to barely get 5 each day doing
did
it.
you do you I don't know how. So at one point in time when we fit, and granted, I don't know about like Chick, but when you're on Toledo and Rayburn and some of these
Mhm.
lakes, we got a couple lakes that I'm trying to think in my head.
Yeah,
Um, it's I don't know what it is. It didn't feel that way even when I fished the tour. Like I never ran into anyone sight fishing on tour
yeah.
ever.
I think I think we had, I can't remember what years it was, but
19 and 20 maybe,
19 and 20.
18 and 19,
Yeah,
something like
I don't
that.
feel like we had many uh bed fishing tournaments.
No,
I mean,
I
I don't.
mean that like I said, and then the times they were in Florida.
Yeah.
I will say this, and you'll probably agree with me. Like, if I didn't run into, like, I saw you up there on that
Mhm.
one. So, like, that's why I instantly was like, okay, I don't know what John's number is. And so,
Yeah.
like, everyone else I really wasn't too concerned about.
Right.
I'm not going to lie. I mean, I knew Scott I knew it wasn't a matter of whether or not you could do it.
Right.
I know that you have to commit to it. And I
Yeah.
don't know of a lot of guys that want to commit all the way. And then I've seen some guys commit and I'm like, well, they never really make the cut. And so I'm thinking about this. Remember, you might think more tour level stuff. I think
Right.
more like Toyota Opens, team stuff. Like I'm thinking of the guys that I have to worry about.
Right.
And it seems like me and Russell have talked about like the longer this goes on, and I don't know if this is a scope thing because I want to talk to you about it, but like
Yeah.
we almost have I could go fish a sight fishing event now and see no one.
Right.
No one.
Right.
The only people we saw last year sight fishing were people on scope.
Yeah.
And I don't know. And I think the scope thing has got them away from sight fishing. Like the younger
Right.
generation doesn't go do it. And then there was always only a couple guys that you kind of worried about. I think y'all got quite a few in the elites now.
Right.
And it's not, and it doesn't matter how good they are. I'm not saying they're not good sight fishermen. I'm saying they commit to it.
Yeah.
And those are the guys that are scary. The guys that like full on commit.
Yeah. What I noticed this year, when I was sight fishing, the guys I was around, a lot of them were getting them with the scout mode or whatever,
Yeah.
and they were working those same fish and even more fish that I couldn't see, and man,
It,
I got spanked pretty good
I,
almost every time,
I want to ask you about it.
and it was frustrating, and then. But what do you do? And it made me realize that, like you said, you might fish an area, you don't see anybody, you see someone out scoping. It's crazy. Like what I guess I've learned probably I guess I've kind of known for a while, but what everybody's kind of catching on to now is how deep the fish are actually spawning. A lot of people think like, oh, they got to be 3 foot or less. They need this sunlight, blah, blah, blah. And now, I mean, you got guys catching them out in 18 feet in some places on beds, sitting in them and working them, which is, it's insane. But
Yeah, I didn't think I've done it.
mhm,
So um I go through a lot of different things because I'm this guy that tries to work it out, and
mhm,
then it's not trying to like beat everyone to the punch more or less, but I'm trying to like, okay, what's the strategy here in practice?
mhm,
Because everyone's like, guys will come home. Like Andrews told me, he's like, oh my gosh, Todd, this is the deal. Da da da. And I'm like, yeah, yeah. He's like, you're gonna figure it out on Rayburn, and I'm like, dude. And then I get on Rayburn, and it's just stuff everywhere on the ground. Like it's not clean bottom, and
yeah,
I'm like, pointless. And he's like, yeah, yeah, but I'm like, no, no, no. I have to go 1 mile an hour, or I can go 4 miles an hour. And I'm
yeah,
like, this place has got enough of them. I got to find them. So
yeah,
I go back and forth on it, and I'm trying to figure out like when to use it, when not to.
right,
But I will say, like before, we were pretty like we were like, hey man, we can just go behind. Like those
yeah,
guys, we were always sight fishing around people. And
yeah,
Russell's like, called me up. He's like, I found a big one. I'm like, all right, two. I was like, yeah, I found one too. He's like, how is he? He goes, don't worry about that one. No one's gonna find it. I'm like, yeah, I got one like that too. And it's true. Like we'll get there. He's like, it's right there, and I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, no one found that one.
yeah,
Because when you find one, no one's ever gonna see.
right,
And I guess it's just so we always have. I'm like, oh, hey, I got one, dude. We can go to that one last. No one's gonna catch it. I'm like, why? He's
yeah,
like, we don't even get on the bed, watch what happens, and we'll show up there later on in the day, and it's like it's off the bed, and we'll catch
yeah,
it. Now it kind of sucks because we see some guys doing it around us with that, and they're able to catch some fish. That, a lot of those fish are kind of easy to catch on that mode
yeah,
because they're kind of deeper and you're not close to them, and it makes it. I don't care what anyone says. It makes it easier for guys because if it was just the sight fishing, like just you and dude, we could count on a lot more fish.
right.
We
Well, I
just
mean,
didn't
what
think
it
people
is
found.
once you have that, it's every condition. Rain, you don't even need the sun anymore.
I know.
And with your eyes, you're only seeing, so far, and then you got glares, and you got to set up differently. And
People would compare the two, and I said, dude, there's zero comparison. I
yeah,
said the only comparison is you're seeing the fish before, but I'm like, you can do like you said, it's a year. I always said, man, if I could sight fish, 12 months out of the year,
yeah,
I said, dude, I would be fishing. I would do nothing but fish the tour and the elite stuff.
right,
I'm like,
right.
but we can't do that. And so I was like, ours only is maybe you get to do it a couple months out of the year if you're lucky. All the weather screws you up.
Yeah. It's hard to
I'm
be
like,
consistent over a 4 day
yeah,
tournament because of the conditions changing,
it's not
And
easy on the other one, but it's not it's not hard at times either. Like it can be both. I mean, you know what
yeah,
I'm saying? But it's definitely made them easier for the guys to. I think it's harder to find them than to catch them.
right.
But that's what sucks is that if they find them, they almost catch them now all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, I just noticed I went to like some of the regular places where I'd go in and catch one or two off beds, and at some of the lakes we went to this year, and it was shocking what the guys were catching, spawning in the, just out from where I can't see them.
Yeah.
It was like we were on two different lakes.
Are,
It's pretty
I'm gonna
wild.
ask. I'm gonna ask you this because, like, I don't know if you know any of my thoughts on it, but like, are you glad they went they went 4-4 or four
I
and
mean,
five?
I think it's good to, I mean, people are going to watch it, to see like, hey, let's see what happens in this one. I
Dude,
mean,
I
I think
can't
it's going to
wait.
be interesting. I mean, I think it is even across all of them, even the MLF stuff. However, they're going to do their 3 hour period with it or whatever they're going to do. Um, I think it'll be interesting. I think it might also, like, we might see guys like, you know, um, I mean, what I'm going to look for is some of those guys that are just dominating with the scope, see how they do in the non-scope, and then see if any of the non-scope or the scope tournaments guys, is anybody even going to be able to hang with those guys? I mean, it's wild when I talk to a lot of, and a lot of them are great kids. They it's wild. They're like, I had a rough day, and I'm like, oh man, what'd you do? And they're like, only caught 18 today. And I'm thinking like, I haven't caught 18 in the last 3 weeks, but so I think, be kind of back to reality with the no scope tournaments, where you catch 18 pounds, 20 pounds, you're catching them.
So I know, so y'all got to fish with a lot of those guys. Look, I know how this works. And so that was about as good of an answer as I've gotten from someone. Cause I might talk to someone off air and they might really tell me how it is.
Yeah.
And so, and I understand everyone's trying to be, I know they can take it a lot of different ways. I'm very brutally honest about this.
Yeah.
Because once again, from my backstory is I've been this guy who did it this one way, like we always did.
Right.
And then I started getting just beat at Rayburn in these places. And I'm like, yeah, watch out, Russell. Wait till the springtime comes along.
Yeah.
And then we get beat.
Yeah. I think that's what we've been saying the last couple of years.
Oh, I got right. And so I said, and it's not just getting beat, it's getting like you said,
not even close.
I had a horrible day. I had 18 pounds. And you're like, yeah, I'd have taken that 18 all day long. Mm-hmm. So I went full on into it because, man, I said, I've done 1,000 videos over this about like, hey man, I don't have a choice. Like I make way too much money fishing from tournaments. I got to be able to compete because I can't do it without it. So I went all in. When I say all in, I just went out there every day and said, I'm just going to live scope. And I've gotten good. Now I still will go, half the tournaments I didn't live scope this year. And we made a lot of top 10s not live scoping. But I mean, I wanted to be able to at least know how to do it. And I'm nowhere near those guys. And I always tell everyone next year for my tournaments, all of them are going to be live scope. Like I won't have one of now the the MLF stuff might be 3 hours, which I'm, whatever. And so, and I do videos on live scope and stuff. But I always say, man, if they took it away right now, I always said, I enjoy live scoping. I do. Mm-hmm. I have, I could do it all day long because it's a lot like sight fishing, which I can do all day long. Like looking in the water is my favorite thing to do in the world.
Right.
But I think I'd have more money without it. And so and my thing is it's not that I'll go compete either way with it. Like that's how you are. I've seen you. You're like, I'm gonna still go be John Cox, right? Mm-hmm. My thing is that there's a part of me, and I can say this, and I have no problem saying it, that I was like, I want to see if some of those guys can catch them. Mm-hmm. And every time I say that, there's someone in the background that's being politically correct going, well, and I'm like, hey, I know John Cox can sight fish for one reason and one reason only. Not because he's won tournaments. Mm-hmm. I've seen him do it. I've seen him sight fish on camera and do good. Mm-hmm. And I was like, y'all keep telling me some of these other guys can catch them without it. But every time on camera, that's all I see them doing.
All right.
And I was like, so you can't tell me, you can't just say, well, that guy's an elite fisherman. He can sight fish. The guys are like, that stupid comment, they're like, well, they're in the elites. They can sight fish.
Yeah.
No, they can't. No. Right? Just like saying like, oh, we can, that's like saying, well, everyone in the elites can go scope them. No, they can't. Yeah. There's guys that are so much better at it. Like the guy that's catching 17, that's like, well, that guy can catch 17. Yeah, but that's 80th place.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, so can he catch 17? Yes, but not with those guys. I want to see if those guys now, the guys that are smashing them on scope, and you take it away from a tournament, if now they're still in the top 10, top 20.
Yeah.
That's all I want. And if they are,
they might be, I mean, and that's fine. I mean, I just, I just taken some whoopings the last couple of years fishing next to a lot of these guys. John, and I'm like, man,
here's what I always tell people. When you get out on a lake, how many of these guys have ever fished a tournament without scope on their boat? Not the tournament. They want to practice. Like day one, you show up and you can't use it. And
Yeah.
then 6 hours go by. And this is a normal thing for me and you, right? Six
Right.
hours go by. And if I called you up, I'm like, hey, John, what's going on? He's like, I haven't had a bite.
Right.
You don't know what you're doing. You don't know where to throw. You don't even know if
Right.
you're on fish. Like
Right.
you have nothing to go off. You remember how me and you are like our heads are going?
Yeah.
Well, we have nothing to go off of because we haven't
Right.
had a bite in 6 hours.
Yeah.
Now, scopes, I could be like, hey, dude, like I've seen a couple fish, but every time I go out deep, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
I can't get them to bite, or chances are, if you see them on scope, you can get them to you can get some to bite.
Yeah.
If you don't know that, and
Yeah.
you're just stuck with that's what we grew up doing, and that was hard.
Yeah.
And in those days those days get hard. I don't know if they've been through that.
Yeah.
Because those are tough.
Those are. I mean, I can think of tournaments going all 3 days of practice.
Yes.
And being like, man, I only had a few. But like, so that one time when I won at Rayburn, like I couldn't catch nothing. I caught like 3 fish one of the days of practice, and like it was so cold and miserable.
I
And
remember it.
but I was like, but I was like, well, I'm just gonna keep moving. I'm gonna try to find something during the tournament, and that part I think is hard. It's hard to stay focused when you don't even know what bait to really throw, because you haven't put those pieces together
There's
yet.
nothing to go off of.
No, it's very, and that's what will be the interesting. I mean, and some of these guys are gonna. I mean, I remember. I mean, when I first started fishing the big tournaments, I'd have a couple tournaments where, I would have rough practices and do really well, and it would all click. But man, I also had some terrible 100th place finishes, for years, and that mixed in there, So
Well, in like I said, like since I always feel like I can talk on the matter because of how much I've scoped.
Mhm.
And if I go into a creek with scope and I look around and I don't see any fish in there,
right, yeah, not the right one.
But there's times I've gone into a creek and it's like, I think they're in here or whatever. But if I knew, like if before, the only way to know that is maybe say I was on Rayburn and I got to practice there 2 weeks earlier, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so I knew they were in there. But I just couldn't get them to bite. That's going to play into that thing. But for me, not knowing anything about a place, I can only go off of a bite. But if I'm scoping around in there and now I see them or I don't see them, like, well, there's none in here. I don't have to waste my time in here.
Right.
And I'm just telling you, like, I was in the game of fishing, and so were you, for too long, that it was so hard to be consistent. Consistency was just trying to figure out how to make another check until you were able to win one or whatever.
Right.
And I just don't think it's very hard to learn that in a very short amount of time.
Right.
For a lot of the young guys. And I'm not knocking on them. Like, all of us were in that boat.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. And so within 5 years, now there's hundreds of those younger guys that can do all that instantly. And I'm like, no, some of them can.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be hard for some of them. And it's not a knock on them. And in 5 years of them doing this, they might be phenomenal. Because we just talked about how the spinning rod thing and little things, like I spent my whole off season doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Like we would go out, and I assume you were too, like you'd go try to learn the things that you weren't really good at.
Right.
So you come back the next year and be better at it.
Right.
I don't know. I'm interested to see how it goes down.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm excited too. And then the MPFL, we'll have no scope in that all year, and the schedule will be cool. That's gonna be a fun one to watch too. So
that one's been I mean, I paid attention. I mean, I got somebody, Andrew's in there, Hackney's in there. Like I got some, like I pay attention to y'all going over there and doing that. And so I hope all those things, I hope it all works out. I mean, I've always still wanted, I still want personally one league.
Yeah.
That's me. I want one league where everyone gets paid.
Right.
I don't know if it'll ever happen, but if not, I want all these things to survive. I mean, because our team stuff aren't doing good.
Right. So that's what kind of happened down here. I feel like with team stuff, it was like once there was so many team trails, it just spread everybody out. So then we didn't have any really good payouts anymore. And like we went from having 100 and change of people to now all the tournaments are like 50, 60. You know, I just don't feel like we have any good team stuff anymore down here. I don't know if is that kind of what happened there in
We
Texas too,
have
or
we have like our three now are like Bass Champs, TXTT, and TTO is our biggest ones in Texas. And then Bass Champs got better payout and they got a pretty awesome incentive. When I say better payout, I mean they went up in their payout. TXTT has gone down, TTO has gone up. And so in the TXTT, yeah, they're still giving away a boat, but man, there used to be crazy amounts of incentives for like Ranger, and I think it was like Ranger, Nitro, Triton, Evinrude, all that stuff. And so
right,
the incentive thing was really big. Where our participation is like crazy down. So the most amount of tournaments on on any lake in the country is Rayburn.
right,
And everyone like argues with me on that. And I don't know why, but from start to finish, people like from Sunday morning, Thursdays to but just the amount of team stuff isn't. People have no idea. The high school stuff, all of it.
right.
So I think it's the number one lake in the country, and we start our BFL starts January 3rd. Like people don't realize we never stop down here.
Right,
It just
right.
it goes. So I think this year, me and Russell will fish 2 events on Rayburn this year.
Oh wow.
We'll fish a Toyota and a TXTT. So the TXTT used to come twice. Bass Champs used to come twice. We had other tournaments come. They all said no. We were the best turnout for all these years. We always, because all the guys in North Texas would be complaining, going, "Why you always go to Rayburn?" And like, because 250, 300 guys show up, and 100 Dallas guys show up.
Right
now it was always this Rayburn local thing, and I was always agreed with everyone else that wasn't from down here. I said, "Hey, I agree with y'all. The guys from Rayburn don't move, they don't travel, they're not good." Like I was like, I would dog the Rayburn guys, because I'm like, "Hey, man, we go fish all." Like they wouldn't say nothing to me. We go fish all their lakes. We go travel around, and I was like, "Yeah, they don't." I don't blame those guys for not wanting to come down. Well, now with scope and stuff, there's about 8 or 10 of them.
Yeah.
And they're going to win everything.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Well, it's part of it." I'm like, I told them this years ago. I said, "Here's the problem, man. Y'all think you're going to have this little gravy run, and now y'all got it.
Yeah.
Now no one's coming.
Yeah.
And it went from like 250 to 200 to 100 to like less than 100 guys showing up at these events, and I'm like, congratulations, man, y'all won nothing."
Yeah.
And now they're not even coming, and they'll admit they're not coming, and everyone has all these excuses, and I'm like, y'all can beat around it. This is what's happening. And I was like, I'm glad they're not coming.
Yeah.
You kind of shove it in everyone's face of going, "Well, y'all asked for this, y'all wanted it this way." And so it's just like the regular fishing, y'all's payouts haven't changed any.
Mm-mm.
And when
I think they've gotten a little worse.
Yeah. Well, everyone's like, "Well, it's 2,000 here, 5,000 there." I'm like, guys, like I could go buy a truck for 40 to 50 grand, and now it's 80. And I'm like, but our entry fees, the payout 20, dude. It's not Bass Champ's fault, but those tournaments, man, it was 20,000 15 years ago.
Yeah. Well, and I remember, like, I remember, like, that money was like when you got a $10,000 check, like that, that 5 you would clear probably about 4 then, but I mean it was, that was good money, and now it's like, dude, everything's so expensive. Like I don't know, how without big sponsors behind you and stuff, I don't know how it's even doable anymore.
Well, I always said, because everyone, I always said, man, 95% of my income for like 10 to 12, 14 years was straight tournament win.
Right.
Or checks.
Yeah.
Now it's not like that. And I always tell people, I'm like, well, I couldn't, if I was 19 now trying to do what I was 19 then, no way I could do it.
No, me
No way.
neither. Mm-mm.
And I got luck. I mean, but there were also no 19-year-olds fishing when I was 19.
Right,
I was one of like very, very few.
right,
And even all through my 20s, there were very, very few 20-year-olds fishing. It was all older guys
right,
my age now
right,
out there
right.
doing it. And so I don't really know what that means. I
Yeah,
don't really
I don't know either.
I don't have
I
an
thought of it.
opinion on that. It's not a
I
bad
thought,
thing.
yeah, I thought of that too, though. But I feel like there was still a lot of like, I mean, I remember there was a lot of younger guys fishing. I don't know if it was, I don't know if they were as serious, but I don't know.
Well, I'll put you in the Toyotas, like the last two Toyotas on Rayburn, I made the cut. And
Yeah.
I remember sitting like Lee was right there next to me. And there might be out of the 25 guys there,
Were
I would
you and
say
Lee the
there
oldest?
oh, or I would say five of them. Steven Johnson made one of them when I was making fun of him about being old. And and I was like, there might have been five of us over 35.
Wow.
And I would say nine. I remember making the cut when I was under 35. Now it was the top 10. I would say 9 times out of 10, I was the youngest one.
Yeah.
Maybe one other person under 35.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm not good or bad. It's just an observation. And I
Yeah.
don't know where that's going to go. But I also remember because those young guys, I've gotten in like I'll start conversations in the weigh-in line and stuff, and
Yeah.
it goes a lot of different ways. And I'm like, hey man, the problem is whoever wins this tournament's going to win 30 grand. And I said, when we were winning back then, we were winning 50, and the payout hadn't changed. There was just twice as many guys in the event
Yeah.
because they were like, they were talking about how all this. I'm like, yeah, I don't care. I don't care about y'all's theories. I'm just telling you, there was twice as many people in those events, and now there's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
And so, I wouldn't, man, if there was 250 guys in a Toyota right now and they're all under 30,
Yeah.
dude, I would tell all them old guys, pack it up, and I don't care if y'all ever show up at an event.
Yeah.
And I don't care, and I wouldn't care what they allowed or didn't allow. I'd be like, yeah,
Right.
I'm all for it. If 250 guys want to show up, I'm all for it. But that's
Yeah.
not happening.
Right.
So, and I don't know if it'll ever go back.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It is wild. I don't. Yeah, I don't know if it'll go back either. But I mean, I think when like we were younger, I think it was more any. There was more. I think there was a bigger group of guys that had chances of winning. And then you'd have your like random guy that came in would maybe win or so. Um, But now I feel like so many of these guys are so locked in. It's like you already know, like every top 10 I see, I almost like. Well, I know we're not supposed to, but me and the wife will do the fantasy fishing, and
They're
like,
not
dude,
supposed to.
I can, I will, because I'm in the tournament, but
Uh-huh.
dude, like like I almost pick the top 10 every time before it even happens,
We
and
like there.
it's wild. It's crazy that you know I just
We,
don't remember it being like that. It's like, maybe you don't really. I don't think I could ever pick the top 10, but like the last 3-4 years, it's like, yeah,
well, I've never played fantasy until Andrew and Matt and all them made me play,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I beat him like 3 years in a row. All of
yeah,
them. And
yeah,
I wouldn't say I took it too serious. I didn't like I literally I've never made any of this up. Like I'm
yeah,
literally on the phone picking as we're going.
yeah,
Never looked at
yeah.
it before.
Well, that,
And then in the last couple of years, now I've just gone full on where I just, I tell them like I'm picking all live scopers, and then I'll
yeah.
still pick, but I'll then like I picked you a lot for a lot of
Oh, I
things.
know. Well, every time you or one of the guys would pick me, I'm like, yes, someone's got, someone's gonna think I'm gonna catch them.
Well, then I'll
But
just get mad and go, I don't
yeah,
care about that. I'm picking who I
yeah,
want to
yeah,
because I
yeah,
wanted y'all to do well because of,
yeah,
because Matt took it serious,
yeah.
and
Oh
I
yeah,
could have cared less. I could
right.
have cared less if I got any of them right. But it was off air. We would kind of joke around a little bit about Every once in a while we get on there and we're because we always said, especially when Ish got on there, we're
Yeah,
like, we can't Matt was like, I wish we were recording right now. And I'm like, no, we're all going to get in trouble if we had, so we all have to like somewhat mind our P's and Q's. And it wasn't ever bad. It was just like, just like, they're going to catch them. And it was all kinds of weird stuff. But
yeah,
I think it'll be different this year. And I'm interested to see.
but yeah, I think I think what it will do too is a lot of the young guys that aren't getting the credit, because they're all getting bunched into the whole category. There's going to be some of those guys they're going to be the next, Kevin Van Dam, and I think we'll actually be able to, see more of that.
I think so. And I said that I was like, there's always young guys that are going to pop up and be good. I said, I just don't think there's as many of them as there should be. And I said, I think we're going to start to separate that and really see which ones some are. Because I will say, the one thing I'll say is that with LiveScope, what I have learned, because you'll agree with me, sight fishing teaches you an insane amount of things, and it has nothing to do with catching a fish. LiveScope has taught me so many things that I never would have known. Now, what I'll say about that is it's taught me a whole bunch, but when you take it away, like, so I'll put it to you this way. I think the biggest thing is not having LiveScope in the tournament, it's having it in practice.
Right.
If you gave it to me in practice, there's certain fish you can't go catch, right? Like those are, but you're going to get it's just like having a side imaging or anything. Like if you're around fish, that's a giant deal. And the only way for us to ever know if we were around fish shallow is to get a bite rather than, if you know that there's fish in the area, then you're going to spend a lot more time in that area, whatever it might be. I think going out there without it in practice is way bigger than not having it in the tournament. That's why I think it's going to be a big deal.
Right. And I mean, and that too, that, I thought of, the better tournaments I had this year, shallow, the guys caught them out in front of me scoping better, but like they won, they end up winning the tournament, and it's like, once you can dial in, oh, this creek's better, because it's got fish all out in the middle, those are the same shallow spots, that are doing really well, where they might not find those areas without the scope,
Right.
Then you're sitting in a creek, you got fish coming to you the whole time,
Here's a funny, like, I haven't really ever talked about this one on Rayburn this year. Like I thought I was on them fairly good, and I had like 18 pounds on day one, scoped them all up. And it was the second event of the year. And then I thought 18 pounds was going to be like 18 pounds back in the day was like probably a top 10 almost. Yeah. I don't care how good it was. I might have been in 30th.
Wow.
And I was going, what? So the next day, that area, I was going through areas and I finally get to like, I made a total switch, went to the opposite side of the lake and went in there, and there was like, I saw a bunch of boats back in a creek, and I'm like, I'm like, but I didn't really pay attention to who was all back there. I just saw, remember, it's on a Friday. There was probably 14 boats back there. But I'm not saying they were all tournament boats, Yeah. I'm like, I'm not getting in the middle of that. Yeah. And I stopped out here, and I'm like, oh, there's some. I needed to catch fish. So I start catching them in LiveScope. I catch like 20 something. And as I'm doing that, guys are kind of easing out, and some guys saw me catch some fish, and they're moving out, but they weren't tournament guys. Yeah. And I started realizing most of the guys back in the creek weren't tournament fishermen. A couple of them were, but most of them weren't. So they're moving all out, and I'm like, I caught all those fish. I'm like, well, I'm just going to – I got an opening, and I kind of rolled up in there, and next thing I know, I start catching them. Well, I end up with like 25 in like 3 hours. I scoped them all up, and then I saw one or two of the guys that caught them day one, and I was like, whatever. But I mean, I went around them. I just saw them kind of, they caught them and left, and not where I was at. One guy was close, but he wasn't even doing the same thing I was doing. I'm like, all right, cool. So I roll in there the next day, and I start, now I'm dialed, dude, I freaking catch 31, right? Yeah. So I'm freaking on them, like 9-pounders, 6-pounders, like I'm catching them. Yeah. And it's a Saturday on Rayburn. There's 20-something boats in there. I never see a person catch a fish. Yeah. My co-anglers almost never catch a fish. And I'm just sitting, and there's big ones like swimming around and whatever. So mind you, I have this whatever, and I'm like, hey, I got to go back in this one cut. Now this cut is like I can barely turn my boat around in, and it goes maybe like 40 yards, 30 yards, and I pick up my frog, and it's cold, water's cold and stuff. The water's high, and I start throwing my pop and perch around. And mind you, they're all out there. I know what I'm doing out there.
Yeah.
And I get up there, and I have like 1 4 or 5 pounder just cruise.
Yeah.
And it's cold water. It's like 50. They shouldn't even be whatever.
Yeah.
And I get that bite, and I just smile, and I ease back out there, and I start scoping again.
Yeah.
And like I was like, what were you like? I said, I had to know that if you took this scope away from me, I couldn't catch 30.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done all day long, and I would have caught them because all these other guys aren't catching them. They're trying to catch fish because they see us catching them. I said, but no one's doing that. And I said, I put my head down, I would have caught some fish, and I would have made the cut. Maybe not. I wouldn't have made the cut if scope was around, but if you took it away from me, I would have been able to catch fish.
Right.
And so that's the kind of stuff that I mean, you know, I was like, I'm an idiot for coming up here and wasting 10 minutes, but I had to do it. I had to tell myself that I could still do it.
Oh yeah.
All right, have you ever thought you're going to? Have you ever thought about going and trying
putting it on?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I borrowed Keith's boat, Carson's boat, to practice for a tournament that we had down here on the river that ended up getting canceled, and I pulled up to the shell bars I usually fish on the river, and was like, you know, normally it was a line up, cast towards the shoreline, drag it through, you get bit, and I turned all his stuff on, and he had scout mode, and then on one big screen, and then he had forward on the other one. And man, and like I just pointed at the direction of where I was going to cast, and there was one little dot down there on the thing, and I threw to it, and it shook that one off, and then I pointed it to make the other cast, and there's just one sitting there. I threw that one, shook it off, and it made me sick because it was like those casts. I mean, I fished the river for 20 years to find those casts. You know, it was in like 2 feet of water.
I know,
super shallow. And so I was just like, I put it on the trailer, dropped his boat back off, went and got my boat, went and flipped, and they ended up canceling the tournament. But I was just, I don't know, it was scary how, you know, they're like, oh, the shallow stuff's safe. I mean, you can use it, you know, I don't know.
It's like I said, I mean, it's changed everything for me, and I'm very honest with it. Like I said, me and Russell love it. It's so much like if I had to go out on Rayburn right now, and fish without it,
it'd be tough.
Miserable.
Yeah.
Now though, I might only catch 12 pounds, but I'm gonna go catch 50.
Yeah.
And so it's made fishing more fun at times, no doubt.
Right.
I just don't. And I've been very honest. I've always been John. This is where I'm going, right?
Yeah.
Because I got to make sure where I'm coming from with this. Someone's asked me one time, like, "Hey, who did you look up to in fishing?" I was like, "Nobody."
Yeah.
That wasn't a knock on anyone. I didn't watch fishing back then to like. I just watched it. You know, I used to watch Bassmasters on Sundays when it would come on.
Right.
But I didn't look up to Kevin Van Dam or anything. I'm friends with Kevin now, but I mean, I didn't do it that way. I just was always out there just trying to fish. And as I got older, I started seeing some certain guys that I was like, I respected the way they did certain things. Right.
Yeah.
And so I watched you. I didn't have a lot of respect for most guys sight fishing because I was like, nah, whatever. And I watched you do it, and I'm like, well, he's really good, but some of the stuff I probably wouldn't do. But I was like open-minded to it, and I watched, and I'm like, all right, man, like I'm not going to deny that, right? So then I started going, man, hey, he does it different than me, and I respect that, and that's pretty awesome. And it's one of the few. That's why I couldn't wait to do this with you because we haven't got into that. And so, and I talked to Hackney about some things and Kevin, and I started getting, it was more of like a respect thing of like how guys did it. And I was really impressed by some of those guys. I'm impressed by the live scope stuff. Don't get me wrong, like how talented they are. But I always looked at it differently, and that it was just like the guy going out there and like the info rule and getting like waypoints and then
Right.
winning the tournament, and you kind of knew what went on, but you're not allowed to say anything because then you're going to be a hater.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I am with all of this, is like, I don't mind a guy winning, but it's just like, I just don't know if I respect him as much without certain things. Like there's some guys that have won a lot of tournaments that I wouldn't consider them that great of a fisherman. And people are like, what are you talking about? I'm like, look, man, I just don't. And then there's other guys that I look around going, and I can see it by the way y'all fish.
Right.
Like when you fish a tournament and you adjust the way you do to like different things, and you especially, I'm like, John's going somewhere that no one's probably ever been before, or doing something like that's not normal fishing. No one told him about, like, I know no one told him.
Yeah.
And I know he had to figure that out on his own because it's not like everyone else. That's
Right.
where I was like, that's all on him. And there's
Yeah.
other times where I'm just telling you, I've been around it. We don't have to talk about it, but like,
Yeah.
you're like, you just heard through the grapevine, and you're like, oh yeah, I figured that's where that guy would catch him and how, and
Yeah.
and hey, he wins the tournament, but I chop it up to like, I don't really care. Like,
Yeah.
don't have really
Yeah.
good or bad anything to say. I'm just like, yeah, it doesn't really impress me.
Yeah. I mean, I have
John's
it's
like,
always
why
funny.
are you saying all this stuff?
No, it's
I'm
funny
not
though,
trying to
like,
get
because
you in trouble. I'm not
no,
asking
no,
you
but
anything.
I know what you're saying though, because like I've seen it, because I've done it for so long too. Like you're like, oh well, I know Mark Rose won off that exact spot 10 years ago, and then this guy wins. It's crazy how some of those places,
Right.
uh, and it's like, oh, that guy found him. I was like, well, there's already been a few tournaments won there. I always feel weird. My problem with watching any of the live is like once like Fork, Rick Clunfish's stretch of docks almost every day. One would catch this giant stringer every time we went to Fork, and I was like, man, I can't go down those docks. Now I knew right where they were. Watching them, and it's just, you know, but yeah, I don't know. It
Like
is.
on Chick, like where I have no idea where you're at. I just saw
Well,
reeds
yeah,
and then thought maybe that's where. Now you might have been 8 miles from where I was. I don't know, but I
well,
was just going. That's the kind of stuff I looked at, but it
right,
wasn't. I don't know if you were up there. I don't know if I could. I think I could find where I caught him. I think I
yeah,
can. That's how
right.
bad. Like that's how like
Well, that
I
I
just
don't
remember going
know.
left.
Yeah, the ones I caught, like I knew like areas, but I have no idea like what, like they were on like hundreds of yard stretches,
Right.
and they were just one, there'd be one fish there or something, and
Well, like I
you
said,
know,
the stretch I caught all mine down one like stretch of like they were all in this like middle. It was like a middle section. You know how they all like those backwaters have those. They'll every once in a while have the middle row. Like they'll have a
yeah, oh
middle
yeah,
man.
yeah,
And
yeah,
and like I said, I just happened to go across that. The frogfish I found, because I was telling somebody about it. I'm like, yeah, like they were asking me. I'm like, I don't know. I went in there and caught him right there, and they're like, oh, that's where Andy Morgan caught him. I'm like, or that they called it something. I'm like, what's that?
oh
Like, Andy Morgan caught him on the deal. I'm like,
yeah,
okay. Like, I
yeah,
had no clue. And then
yeah,
and
no,
I'm like, well, he was rattle trapping though 3 years ago, something. I'm like,
yeah,
I just went left down the takeoff in
yeah,
practice, and I
yeah,
put in
start
the
fishing,
first gut.
yeah,
And I remember fishing around there, and I caught a 7-pounder on a chatterbait, right, pretty quick in day one of practice. And then I
yeah,
fished for like hours and never had another bite. And I
yeah,
go, this ain't the deal. And then
right,
come to find out, it was kind of the deal a little bit. I just didn't, how do you supposed to
yeah,
I don't know. It's just interesting to me on how I'm ready for next year to see how it pans out.
oh yeah, yeah, for sure, yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it.
Are you going to get to okay? So I forget all this. I want to ask you. I want to get into this before we'll maybe go back to sight fishing. I want to ask you about frog fishing.
Okay.
Um, I don't even know what I want to ask you. Like I frog fish a lot. Are you?
Yeah.
is it going to be harder to win a tournament frogging?
Yeah. I mean, I don't. I've only won. I mean, I've really only won a couple. Like won the cup frogging. I did okay
Not
at
okay.
Wheeler.
Forget winning.
Yeah,
Catching them on a frog, like it's
catching them
not.
decent. So I want to say probably the last, I don't know, maybe the last 5 6 years. I don't think I've caught like, except that one tournament on Wheeler where I caught them all on the frog that one day or that one week. But the frog for me has only been like one here, one there. It's tied on. You come up to the right area for it, you throw it, you catch one, and you don't get another bite on it the rest of the day. Um, but I just don't. I don't know. I mean, I just don't seem like. I just don't feel like I catch them like
Do you?
all week long anymore. Or
I
maybe
don't.
it just hasn't set up either, though. I don't know.
I don't
You
think.
know,
I'll take. And this is where the scoping comes in. So I'll just ask you. You think it's pressure? Or you think they're there?
why they won't eat the frog? Uh, I
Well,
I don't.
why? I don't even want to say. So I'm not going to say why they won't eat it. Why you
Yeah.
don't catch them?
I don't. I don't think they're there.
I don't think they're okay.
Yeah,
That's why I said
I
that.
don't think they're there.
That's
Because
why I changed what you said about. You mean they won't
yeah,
eat it? Because
yeah,
I don't think
yeah,
they're there to eat.
yeah, they're not there. That's, I mean, because so if they were there and they weren't eating it, you would still get that boil under it. You would still see, something kick on the shore and something. You would still see that life, and there's not. And when you do get one now, I mean, now when you get a frog bite, it seems like they usually crush it.
Yes.
And it,
And, and you
and
can have days where it's like phenomenal.
right.
So, so Rayburn was that deal, and I base this off of mainly. Well, I got a couple lakes up here,
Mm,
and the frog when I first started doing it, or whatever. All I know is that shallow water fishing, we could win tournaments, and it's hard to catch 30 up there doing it around Rayburn. I mean, 30 was
yeah,
almost no one hardly caught 30 on Rayburn for years.
right,
But I had 30 pounds of bites a lot of times in practice shallow.
right,
Now I can go shallow sometimes and I can't get 20.
right.
I couldn't, like 20 would be my best day, and 20 with scope, like scoping events, like I said, you might not even make a top 10.
Right.
And me and Ish and all of us, we talked at the beginning of this whole scope, and I'm not going to talk about scope, but we all thought, oh, it'll put those pressure, like they'll all be out there and it's going to leave the banks alone. Well, by golly, we were right on one part.
Yeah.
It left the banks alone.
Yeah.
I can go fish the bank anytime I want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
That just doesn't mean, but I think, and I've got my own, I'll bet $1 million on it of my theory that I'm right. But I mean, I don't think they're up there anymore.
Right. Well, I think what happens now is there's no, just like you said, you can go out now. We used to go out right now and barely catch anything. Now you can go out and catch 50 of them. Like there's never that rest area. Like when I lived across the street, and where I Airbnb now, I used to fish that pond all the time, like every day. And it was crazy that, just being gone and letting it rest for, like, say I was gone for 3 weeks and came back, how much, more aggressive them fish would be up chasing, feeding, compared to if I was there blasting them every couple days, and then you know, they just kind of sit out in the middle. They just
Well,
don't. They're scared. And
Scott Martin, I remember when the Alabama rig was around, he was kind of like highly against it, which I was
yeah,
too.
yeah,
And he was like, man, they just don't get that. And I don't even know if he was just talking, like to be talking and saying, like
yeah,
making it up. So just to get rid of it. And
yeah,
he's like, well, they just, they're out there and you got to let them like hang out there, and they're not getting a chance to, because, and I didn't ever know if that was true, but it sounded good. And I was all for it because I didn't like the Alabama rig because I thought it was kind of same deal. It had nothing to do with catching fish. I just saw guys that like every tournament they went to, they're just throwing. I swear to you, it's one cast here, one cast
yeah.
there behind the boat.
Well,
And I was like, well, that's not, come on, man. This is, I'm trying to figure out how to catch them exactly like,
yeah,
and they're just out there throwing around.
right,
And then I've seen scope and I'm just going, I say, and I'm not this big deer hunter, but I'm not an idiot either. And I'm
right,
like, deer are all over the place in freaking communities, you know, where they feed them all the time. But I was like, you get it, like, go hunt a deer for a while.
Yeah.
They're not going to just, hey, here I am. They're like, I bet you they go to the darkest, thickest woods
Yeah.
they can. Well, I
Yeah.
said, well, a fish, same thing. It's like, because I saw it happen on Rayburn. It was like, it was first the shoreline, and then it was like these massive flats we have on Rayburn.
Right.
And we'd have to go forever to find them in a drain or a point or whatever, like these like needle and haystacks.
Yeah.
They're not even on needle and haystacks. They're
No.
every year they get further and further away from the flat.
Yeah.
That's a mile offshore.
Right.
They're further every year. They get further and deeper into just the blue water.
Right.
And I go, well, yeah, bass aren't going to be like, hey, well, everyone's out there, I'm going to go up there shallow.
Yeah.
I think they're just going to go further out there deeper.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I that's what I think too. And I don't know if it's going to be something that maybe it is like maybe it's like a trend, like, you know, everybody will start fishing out and then eventually maybe they'll come back. But I think it's the being caught. So people are catching more fish now than they ever have.
Ever.
And I don't think the populations of fish are anywhere near where they were like when we were kids. Like, I mean, I remember going out to lakes and like seeing acres of schoolers, you know. I haven't been on tow and seen an acre of schoolers, you know, since I was 20, you know,
what
20
sucks,
years ago.
Yeah, what sucks about that is that I don't think we have as many fish, but I'll say we will never know.
Right.
But I always judged how good lakes were, but for one reason, like, because I never based it on catching fish. I'm sure you're with me too. When you go to a lake, because you're sight fisherman, I think sight fishermen are the only guys that when you do it every day, every year,
right.
I know how many fish are in like I can tell the lakes, like I can tell how good Rayburn and Toledo was. Amstead used to be one of those too that they're like, oh, they just live out there in the middle on Amstead. I'm like, what? They don't spawn anymore?
Yeah.
I said, dude, I'm gonna see them. I can see 20 foot on Amstead.
Yeah.
When it was good, just like Toledo, I told everyone about Toledo the same thing too. I'm like, look, on Toledo, I could go out there and find dang near a 10-pounder every day on Toledo.
Yeah.
And see 50 to 100 fish.
Yeah.
So now I can't see that. And they're like, oh, they live out there in those trees. I'm like, I'm with you, but they're going to show up. Well, they spawn deeper. I'm like, so wait a minute. All of a sudden, but it's funny how I'm like, well, for 8 years, I could go, it was phenomenal. And now no one's really catching them that good. And I don't see them, but you're telling me they still live out there. I'm like, no, they don't.
Yeah.
Like I agree with you. I don't see as many fish on beds.
Right.
I'm with you on the schoolers too. I don't see as many fish schooling.
Yeah. Well, you remember, so think of Rayburn, like 2010, 11, 12. Your spawners then, I mean, it was like you'd pull into a pocket and it was like a bluegill bed of bass. Mm-hmm. And we've gone there I've gone there quite a bit. I don't live there, but I haven't seen them. But even like that on Kissimmee used to be like that, you know, and you just don't,
I have a lot
like that anymore.
I have a lot of wins on Rayburn those for years. And I always said, and I even said, I tried to make it a point that I wanted to prove to everyone. No one ever said this, but to myself, I wanted to prove to people I could catch them without sight fishing, even though no one ever said that. To me, I realized how many fish tournaments I was winning off beds, like bed fishing. And so I was really proud that I made it a point, like just my own goals. I was like, I'm going to win a tournament on every month of the, year on Rayburn. And when I did that, no one would ever know this, but in my head, I'm like, I did it. Right.
Yeah.
Now it was a big deal for me. And now I haven't won a tournament on Rayburn sight fishing in at least 5 years, but maybe more. I don't even remember having a chance. And I would say there are years that go by that we don't ever catch a fish off of a bed. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of that's water fluctuation. But I remember for years, like you said, it was like every year I'm like, hey, I'm going to get some tournaments where the water fluctuates or something, but I'm going to get at least 2 to 3 tournaments where I'm going to like have a chance to win.
Right.
We don't even come in and go, there was one tournament this year, me and Russell, and it was dead calm, perfect. And I'm like, Russell's like, I looked all day, I don't have a single fish for us tomorrow. We had a turn this year, and I was like, I found two. I told him one was a 5 and one was a 3. We came in second in the event. It was a 5 and a 7. That's how I was so
Yeah.
off on him.
Yeah.
And there was he's like, those are the only two you got? I'm like, Russell, look at how hard they were and where I found them. I'm like, I got nothing else. And we ended up live scoping. We had like 26 or 27
Oh
or something.
gosh.
But we live scoped up the other ones. And I was going, man, but yeah, we don't have those. Toledo was like, I mean, we have a couple lakes that we caught them sight fishing on this year, but it's never those lakes anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know. It
Yeah.
seems like it's harder to win. It seems like there's less and less sight fishing events, and I don't know. I can't explain. Like I have zero explanation for it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I know we had those couple MPFLs that kind of lined up, but we hit them pretty good. You know, the Norman and there was one other one we had that they
Which
were
one
up
did
pretty
Hackney
good.
win? He won it doing
That was Norman, yeah. And
Norman. Okay.
it was insane. Let me tell you about Norman real quick. So Norman, there was like these couple pockets and like a lot of guys were, but it was crazy how fast they were coming in. There was this one pocket I went by it every day. You know, there was like 4 boats in it in between every dock. So I'm like, gosh, that's one of the best pockets. Well, I get a late draw the last day, and I keep going by this pocket, just hoping it would clear out. And I go by it with 30 minutes to go. It's cleared out. And there's fish. And like everybody's been catching these fish out of this one pocket for 3 days. And I pull up and there's just fresh ones all in there and I catch some. But it was wild when you hit them those right weeks, how quick, you know, they were just coming into those certain areas. And but yeah, we hit that one good and one other one somewhere. But yeah, that was about it.
Do you think that do you you pride yourself on catching them or finding them or both?
A little both.
You think you can see some people can't?
I don't know. I think a lot of times it's I think a lot of times I just like maybe catch glimpses, like I pick up like
that's
like
same thing.
I'm so dialed into just committing to that and looking like I'm seeing dust move, I'm catching tails, I'm seeing a fence,
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. And if there's not, like I'll even think in my head that there's one there, and do like put like a maybe. And I'm more, I think when I'm looking for, I'm more like searching for where I'm hoping they're gonna pop up. You get an area, you got like little beds and they're not blown out yet. You're like, ooh, they might show up. Just those small things that I'm like processing it while I'm looking. And that's kind of why I don't want to lose that. If I put the live scope on there and I'm not gonna visually see that with my eye. And that's what I love looking into that aquarium every day at work, which is crazy to say that, but yeah, I mean that's what I don't want to lose that.
So that's what I don't either. And there is an art to like looking, going 100 miles. I go really fast, you know, so I'll be like 100 miles an hour, and it's just like you and you can bypass some or whatever, but like you catch a glimpse of people are like thinking I'm seeing the fish, and I'm like, no, man, I'm seeing all kinds of stupid stuff. Like
all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
It's like if you ever go dove hunting, and you see this like dragonfly over here.
Yeah.
You're like, you turn like, oh, dragonfly got me. Like I'm looking at some stupid stuff because every once in a while someone will be in the boat and like, hey, did you see that 4-pounder? I'm like, where are they? Like, up there. Like,
I'll miss that
one. No, like, cool, thanks, good. I'll mark that one too. But I'm not looking at like, the hardest one in the world.
Right.
What I did realize though, this sucks, is that I'll go do all that, and then I'll go back to where I found them.
Yeah.
And I just look around out there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh crap, man. Because I don't like it either. Because I'm like, I couldn't have ever caught. My thought was I would never have caught them, and neither would anyone else. But they can't catch these.
Yeah.
Like they would never found these. Like we had one tournament this year that I was coming back from Eufaula. It was raining and lightning, and Russell was out there, and I'm calling him. I'm like, hey, our event got canceled. I'm gonna get to practice with you. I'm driving down there. So I'm driving down. He's on the water. He's like, I'm on the phone with him. It's lightning. He's just crushed him on a frog. He's like, Todd, it's unreal. I get out there and I drive. I finally got there like 11. It's like guys are coming in off the water. It's raining so hard, and I'm putting in because I'm like so excited to get to practice because I wasn't going to get to practice. I didn't even know if I was going to get to fish the event if I made the cut. Yeah. So I get out there, catch them on a frog, and then it like starts to like clear off. And the next day is supposed to be dead calm and sunny. The lake was going to come up. I'm like, God, we're not going to get the frog, and then it's going to be too high to sight fish. And I look around, and at the end of the day, I see 2 fish on a bed, barely, and then I see like 3 like on this like tree, like 2 2s and like a 2.5, and they're just like sitting there. And I'm like, God, that's where they're going to be. I can't get to those probably.
Yeah.
I'm like, Russell, I got a spot. We're going to start on it. Might as well. We're going to get a 3 and a 4 right off the bat.
Right.
So I was like, no one found them. Don't worry about it. I said, oh yeah, I forgot. There's this other one. I flipped on this like little tree and got a bite. So we go there. It's a trailer tournament. They let us trailer early. There's a guy already there. I'm like, Russell, he might catch him, but he didn't see him. So they're fishing around. We're like looking, like waiting for them to move. They sat there like an hour.
Oh gosh.
They caught the one off that little stump.
Yeah.
And then we see him catch one. It's over 6.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, they're just throwing around, Russell. Like, I don't, whatever. So they finally leave out of there. We kind of, they go down the bank, they're done. Because they sat there a while after they caught that 6-pounder.
Yeah, yeah.
We roll over in there, and he's like, power pull down. And I'm like, look, see that tree that had the couple, couldn't get him to bite. I mean, I didn't even fish for him. I don't think we're going to catch him. I'm like, we'll get one of these. I'm like, can't see anything. And I'm flipping around. And I'm like, I finally, and I'm like, hey, got it. I'm like, but there's a female in there. And I'm like, so, I got the male on, and I'm like letting her swim off.
Yeah.
Go in there real quick, see if you can get, because I guarantee that's the male. And all of a sudden, like, it's on for like a minute. He's flipping in there. It's all out there.
Yeah.
Finally, Russell's like, Todd, just set the hook on. I'm like, all right. So I reel down to set the hook. At the same time, it lets go. So I whip, and then she jumps out of the water. And I go,
and it was the big one?
100%. And so I was like, but I didn't stick her. My hook was still in there. And we get back, and he flips up in there, and we're flipping, and we're both flipping in there. He's like, boom. I'm like, hey, we're not going to do this again, Russell. Just set the hook. So he catches it. It's the 3-pounder.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, dang it. So he gets it in there, and I flip up in there. And I mean, he hadn't got it on there. I'm like, hey, got her. So we catch those 2. And I'm like, all right, well, now what do we do? I'm like, well, we can just I forgot I had one on perspective mode out there from the week before when I'd practiced. I'm like, well, let's just fish around out here. We got around out here. The sun got up, and we're looking up there. And sure enough, there was like, I'm like, oh, I didn't see that one. There's like another 2.5-pounder, whatever.
Yeah.
And we're doing all this, and all of a sudden I'm like, we're trying to catch these 2-pounders.
Right.
Just to get a limit. It wasn't doing to do us any good. And all of a sudden I'm like, hey, look at that fish. Where'd that thing come from? And then it gets on that same bed, and we end up catching it. It's a 6-pounder.
Oh my God.
Then an 8-pounder rolls up with that on this other tree. And like, we never caught, like, I don't know what it was doing. It eventually, whatever. And we sat there, we caught a 3 something. We ended up with like 17 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
But like they were rolling up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, let's just go for it, And we ended up going around. I think we had like 24 or something, because we ended up finding a 7-pounder at the end of the day. And but yeah, like you said, like when they started rolling, you were just like, and some guy goes, they didn't know it was us. We were at the weigh-in, and they were like, we saw some guys, I don't know what they're doing. They were power pulled down for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And Russell goes, hey, that was us. Like he was telling me, he was like, I think they're talking about us. So I'm like, they probably were.
That's too funny.
I like that. Like, you don't get to see that rolling up there like that much.
Yeah. No, I've spent too much time on some fish, over the years, but that when when you see them come in, you're like, oh, they're getting ready, it's hard to leave them.
Do you get this question a lot? Hey, what's your secrets to sight fishing?
Yeah. I don't know if it's a secret. I think
there's no secret.
Yeah, I think it's just loving it so much, like they just like the guys that are scoping, you're just committed, committed to it. And Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Well, you'll agree with me on this. You said something about 18 pounds. I remember in almost every, like, say it's a sight fishing event where you're going to go catch 5.
mm-hmm,
You could come in with 18 pounds and you're at
mm-hmm,
weigh-in and you're like disgusted, right?
yeah,
Your big ones are gone. You
yeah,
lost one. You had to just go find these fish, and you're sitting there at weigh-in, and you're like, you're not excited,
yeah,
and you go up there like, what do you got? Like 18, like, dang, man,
yeah,
nice. And you're
yeah,
like, whatever, and then
yeah,
you go up there and you're in the top 10, but you're
yeah,
still kind of pissed because
yeah.
you
Oh
know
yeah.
what could have been.
Well, what you could have had. Yeah.
Could have had. I think when those scopers are saying that, they're like, yeah, I have 18. I caught
Yeah.
25 today. I had 3 or 4 big ones following, not eat. Like, this was my worst day I had out of all my practices.
Right.
And when you hear
Right.
that, and I like, I see it too, but that's how I felt sight fishing. I was like, my bad days are really, really good. I think those good
Yeah.
scopers, their
Yeah.
bad days are really, really good.
Yeah.
And it's a scary thought. It's like
Yeah.
it's scary when it's like that.
Yeah.
And
Oh
and I
yeah.
and
Yeah.
I
When
will
they
go ahead.
oh is it oh no, but that is it when they think it's oh I only had 18, only caught 20 or whatever, you're like, God, what did that, they were like in the 30s all practice, and it's just crazy. Yeah.
Well, we'll go. Like I said, it's hard for me not to go out to a lake, and I'll do both because I'll go out there and want to
Yeah.
fish one way. And I couldn't wait to get to this lake, had grass everywhere, and I'm out there like doing, fishing for a while. And then I just kind of
Yeah.
look around out there. And I'm like, are they still a bunch out there, And so they're all suspended. And I catch some, but I still go back out there because I want to do certain stuff. And I get out
Right.
there, and it's not even that good out there. And you're fishing and you're catching fish, whatever. And then it reminds me so much of sight fishing. It's like, if you go sight fishing, you got everything planned out, but then all of a sudden, like you catch a glimpse, you do something, and it might even be a 1 flipper. You back off, turn around,
Yeah.
you flip up there, and it's like a 6-pounder. I feel like
Yeah.
that's scoping a lot of times. Like, I'll be out there doing all this stuff, and then it's like they're not really biting, and then all of a sudden you kind of like make this perfect cast with this fish going 40 miles an hour, and it floats down perfectly, and you move it, and you're like, boop, and you catch one, it's like a 6.5, and I go, that's how I'm getting beat, because they don't ever stop doing it.
Yeah.
And they catch one of
Right.
those in a day that's normal to them. Like, for me and you, that sight fish was like, I got lucky, but I kind of get one of those a lot, like that happens enough
Yeah.
to you to where
Yeah.
it's luck, but like it's not unexpected. I think that's what
Right.
happens, because I'll be like, that's one I probably shouldn't have caught on scope, but I caught it. It was a big one. And then you add in these 3-pounders with it, or 4s, and now I got 20. But I
Right.
should have had like 15.
Yeah.
But because I never
Yeah.
did anything else all day long. I feel
Right.
that happens a lot because you're throwing
Yeah.
at that many of them.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of times when I would fish shallow, especially in a lot of the clear lakes, and I'm just casting at them. My thought too is like, man, if I throw at enough of these, I'm gonna get 5 of them to mess up. And yeah,
No, I
it's
don't
funny
know.
when I watch a lot of the guys that are really good at it, and they're like up shallow, and they're scoping them. I'm like, gosh, it's so similar to how like we would pitch to fish and stuff that are cruising. Um, so yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I don't know. Like I said, I want to see. Did they scope? Okay, I know. So it's tough because a lot of times I'm sure you don't really care much about the winner. Like, sometimes what the winner does is not how everyone else fished. Would you agree with that?
It's usually sometimes on like, yeah, it's usually on like something incredible, or
Right. Like, I'm
it's
thinking
usually
about
like a
some of
winning
this.
spot. Yeah.
Yeah, some of the scoping stuff that you saw, like the perspective mode stuff. Was it Luke Palmer? Kept like, who was
Oh
one
yeah, when he
last
caught
year?
him off the trees.
Yeah. I mean, when you
That
catch
might have
them
been
that
2
much
years
better
ago.
than everyone else, right? Like, I kind of like, okay, that's not
Oh
the
yeah.
greatest example.
Oh Yeah. What's
So
his
I,
name?
so I look
Cut
at
him off all the trees.
right. So I look at it like forget that
Welter.
Welcher, yeah.
Mhm.
So forget that him, but everyone else. So now, like when you win by that much, you just take him out of the equation. Like that's not in a bad way. It's just like okay, he was doing that. But for everyone else, did you see a lot of guys catching them like last year, sight fishing off scope? Like was that a thing? Because I mean, you could have a guy in
Well,
14th place who caught him, but it didn't show that. I mean, are that many guys doing it?
yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Really? It's
Yeah, it's terrible.
see, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Oh, I didn't like
But
that. I didn't know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it'll be all right.
Like I said, people don't realize is that you understand what I'm saying. Like you can bring up a lot of certain events and you're like, that it didn't you can show on live and like, hey, that's not really a representative of how the tournament went down. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't.
Right.
Like I said, you can see sometimes where like you get what I'm saying is that I didn't realize I was wondering how many guys were actually doing it and then how
Yeah.
many guys were catching one here, one there.
Yeah.
But they were actually going around like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just at least the ones where I fish near them, you know. And then and I room with Lester. He's gotten really good with it too. And he got a second in that tournament. The one Welcher won, you know,
Uh-huh.
and that's what he'll tell you. I mean, he caught every one of them, dropping it right to him, Uh, so I don't know. It's it'll be interesting this year, you know. I think what it will do is should open up some checks uh that weren't there that people, which is sad is that like there's a lot of people not in it anymore because it's eating up so many of checks, you know. I mean I thought of like I got one of the tournaments I got like I think I got 51st or something and I was just thinking I was like man like I caught him I felt like I caught him good, and I was like I didn't get a check there, and um normally that would have been a top 20, and I
See,
think that happens a lot.
we had like I said, we just go based off of what it's a that too. Like when you fish the elites, you know enough of those guys that even on the tour, I for the most part, you kind of had an idea of how people caught them and how people, like I mean, if Tom Mansour caught them,
Yeah.
okay, just
No,
when the
he's
big fight was
cranking.
on, right?
Yeah, he's cranking it somewhere.
Yeah. So like there were certain things that you could define, and so like on Rayburn, um, like the first tournament of the year in the Toyota, we were joking around. There was three of us because Chris McCall caught him. I caught him, like Mike Hawks caught him. And I only bring those three up because like everyone else around, well, Livesey caught him too. So there was four of us. And we kind of joked around because I'm like, I don't think anyone else, they were all live scoping them. Now I live scoped up a couple, but they weren't like like my bigger ones all came fishing. I was doing the 50-50 deal, trying to figure out. And then as the tournament kept on going and I kept on doing better, I kept on catching less and less scoping and more fishing. By the third day, I ended up catching like 2 or 3 scoping, but it was in the last 15 minutes. All the rest of my weight came just fishing. And it was my biggest bag. And it was one of the bigger bags of the entire day because it was cloudy and rainy.
Yeah.
Or windy, or I can't remember, but like I kept on moving up. And we were all sitting around talking about that, going, man, what would happen if it was like 3 out of the top in that event, there was like 3 or 4 of us in the top 25 that weren't doing it. And then the next event where I did catch some scope, it was like Steven Johnson, like him. We all laughed like, Steven, you would have won the event.
Yeah.
Now he finished maybe like bottom 20th because of that, because everyone else smashed on him. But I mean, we were looking around going, how's that gonna change? And then like you said, open up. But in the Toyotas though, I'm quick to sit there. You remember how we were like, hey, it's going to push all those fish from out there up on the bank, or like leave the bank open. I know better than this. I had this optimistic thought that like 3 hours. So I can do it. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I can do both. Give me 3 hours, it's fine. And I'm like, what are those guys going to do for that? They're going to go fishing, but like, we'll see what they can do. But then
Right.
there's a part of me that's like, dude, they might only need 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what,
And I'm
you know,
like,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's what, that my buddy, Keith that fishes Bass Pro Tour, Carson, he thinks 3 hours is all they need too, because you've seen it, like when you get on them and you only gotta hit them, pick your 3 hours. If you pick it when they're biting or when they're feeding, uh, it's really, really all you need,
Well, how many, like I said, I relate all this to sight. I'm doing this with you because you understand sight fish so much.
Right.
If you could say, how many times have you had, it's not a sight fishing event, but you've gone
Yeah.
into an event doing whatever, and you're like, yeah, but I got 2 found over here.
Yeah.
I just got to go fish all day long
Yeah.
because I know I have 2.
Yeah.
And there was never a time in tournament fishing where you're guaranteed a fish.
Right.
You might catch 80 fish a day for 4 days in practice and then show up to the event and never get a bite, right?
Right.
But that sight fish over there that's just sitting there,
Yeah.
you know that you pull up there the next, I'm like, I got a 4 and a 3
Yeah.
or a 4 and a 5. I just got to catch 3 other fish and I'm gonna be in the top 10 to
Right.
make it to the next day.
Right.
And so I'm wondering if it's like them. It's like, I just got to figure out some fish because if I go over here,
Right.
just give me an hour.
Yeah.
I'm gonna catch 17 pounds.
Yeah.
Now they might catch 25 if they had all day.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of times I know those guys are like, man, it sucked. And I like end of the day I catch a 7-pounder.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I have this thought that like it's gonna bring him down a little bit, but it might not bring him down that much. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or like you said, maybe if there's 20 of them, it brings 10 of them down.
Right.
So it opens up. I don't know.
That's what I think. I think that's my guess that's gonna happen. It's just gonna, and I don't know. And then we'll see guys that just dominate in that 3 hours and hang in there. I didn't watch a ton of Bass Pro Tour, but I think there was a couple of them where the guys, they caught all their fish in that one period, that they were allowed to, and then caught like 1 or 2, but
and my thing is like it's usually pretty quiet. Like no one wants to really, I don't know. They're not how like sports announcers and stuff, they can be, they're all supposed to be like level and stuff.
Yeah,
but every
yeah.
once in a while you get some people that call it out. No one in the fishing industry will really call it out. They'll kind of, I take that back. I'm not going to get anyone in trouble.
Yeah.
Some of them make comments and
Yeah.
I'll like text them and I'm like, dude, that was so good. And it's the most subtle something that no one would probably ever know.
Right.
Y'all got one of them I'm friends with, man. And I'll text him. I'll get an hour-long phone call with him afterwards.
Oh,
and he's laughing. You probably know who I'm talking about.
Oh,
and he's
yeah.
laughing. And I'm just like, he's like, oh, you heard that? And I'm like, yeah, man, no one would ever know. But I heard it. That was a good one.
Yeah. That's funny.
And it wasn't like mean. It wasn't mean.
Oh,
it was
just, they're always slipping stuff in there.
But like you'd have to really know some really backstory somewhere down the road. And it was
right.
Well, I'll let you go. I've taken up for enough time. I appreciate it. I want to do it again, dude. I want to do it again. I want to do it again if you've got some time. Man, you're double duty. So what do you got? 9, so 15. You got 15 events.
Yeah. And then a couple redfish ones, and then that's about it.
You're not going to do any of that crazy stuff like you did for a year or 2, right?
No, well, now it's too much now. Like there's not you just miss too much, and then I was
Do you regret that doing it?
Well,
that way?
no, I enjoyed it. I mean, it was the years all came together there, where it's hard to like remember it all, but it was I learned a lot doing it, and there wasn't a tournament where I was like, oh man, I wish I was at that one, because I was showing up for it, even if we didn't make practice. But yeah, I don't know. None of the schedules kind of work out for it anymore.
We had from when I was 30, probably about 20, 28, 27 to 38, 40. There
Yeah.
was a time in there that I think I was averaging 44 to 47 tournaments a year.
Wow.
And so whether it be like a Toyota Thursday, Friday, drive somewhere, fish Saturday, and then fish Sunday.
Yeah.
I did a lot of back-to-back events where you fish one day Saturday, one day Sunday. I know we fished a Saturday event on Texoma. It was a final day, and then we drove all night to Amstead to fish an event or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we did like I was doing, or like fish an event here, go up practicing for an event for 3 days, and then the tournament would be whatever, and I'd come back, fish this event, then go back to fish that event, and it was just like, and I did that for a lot of years,
Yeah.
and I liked it all. I'm glad I would never want to do it again.
Yeah.
I was married.
Yeah.
And I had one kid, but see, when they're babies, like
Yeah.
everyone's like, "Oh, you have a baby." I'm like, when they're babies and there's not really much other than helping out. You're
Yeah.
not this is going to sound really bad, but you're not missing as much, right?
Yeah.
But now I'm like, so I got to go. I don't even know what time it is. Like my daughter's got a basketball game tonight. My son had one Saturday. My daughter was in Tulsa this past weekend, California the weekend. She's 14 or 13, about to be 14.
Yeah.
Like she's traveling soccer stuff.
Yeah.
And so my son plays track, basketball, all that stuff. Like those are what I like. Now I don't want to miss stuff.
Right.
Back then, like, hey, you missed them, throwing up on me. I'm like, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like if you fish, you know how it is. Like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Like, for me, it was like, hey, thanks for getting them on the weekend. I got them during the week.
Yeah.
I got them for like, I can take over for a week or so.
Yeah.
During the middle of the week. But I mean,
yeah.
Like my son was sick all last week. So like I had him,
Yeah.
I'm like, I got him.
Yeah, mine were easier when they were little, when you could just force them to go. Be like, guess what? We're practicing today, or guess what? We're going out of town. But now, now that the two littlest ones are both in high school together, and man, it's hard to miss that stuff now, because you're like, man, Nan, she's only got 2 years left, and then she graduates, and then Will's a freshman, so it is nice to catch some of that stuff now, when the kind of in the off season and stuff. But
Yeah,
it's gonna be tough when softball season starts, because they've never really been on the same team together. So I kind of like, this will be their first time they'll get 2 years together. So those are gonna be kind of rough, missing some of those. But
yeah. I try to make the makeup I do is that like, so I was running tons of my track workouts with my son. My son made Junior Olympics.
Wow.
So he was like in the 800 in the mile.
Oh my gosh.
Well, he hadn't turned 11 at the time yet, so he was 10.
Yeah.
So I was running like Andrew was the coach too out there with Kane and stuff. But I was doing a lot of some of their track workouts when we missed. I would just do them with them.
Yeah.
I ran back in the day, but man, I ran in high school and stuff. Like I could run. I stayed in shape, but I mean, I was practicing on my own a bunch. Yeah. I did not want to do that at 46.
Yeah.
I was practicing a bunch so I could push him through some of that stuff. And I play basketball with them constantly, like basketball, baseball, that soccer stuff. Like I'm out there in the backyard. I never really played soccer, but some of the soccer coaches, like, how many touches you get in? About 1,000 this week? I'm like, yeah. Like, so I'm not saying I can play soccer, but I can semi kind of play soccer. Like, I've got a pretty good touch now. I can juggle pretty good. I can do all these things because I'm out there with it.
Practicing.
Yeah, my wife bought me some cleats like 2 years ago. She's like, I can't believe I'm buying you soccer cleats. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm tearing up all my shoes practicing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, and same thing with the track stuff. I got pretty I'm glad basketball is way easier. I was just rebounding for them.
Yeah.
I'll play with them a little bit. Like
Yeah.
I'll play. I'm still too tall for him, but I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I said I'll get the practices in with you. I feel better that if I can get practices in, I'm a lot more for that than the games.
Right.
So they don't get too upset when I miss the games.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
That's
haven't missed too. Like I'm coaching my son in basketball, so
Oh, wow,
but
that's
he doesn't
nice.
know this. I told my
Yeah.
wife this the other day. I said, "Hey, their championship, their end of the year tournament. There's a Toyota on the first Toyota of the year on Rayburn
Yeah.
is Thursday, Friday, and the final day Saturday."
Yeah.
I'm like torn, going. He doesn't know I might not be there, but like
Yeah.
I'm like, man, if I make the cut, I've done
Yeah.
this one time 2 years ago. I made the cut. I've been traveling forever. I was just something in me. I was done. I was
Yeah.
tired. I I got Angler of the Year. If I
Yeah.
finished top 25 or better, I won Angler of the Year. As long as
Right.
one other guy didn't win the event.
Right.
It was that close. It was
Wow. Yeah. It
I
was
had that
close.
much room, right?
Right.
That guy made the cut. It was Steven Johnston.
Yeah.
But it was the one Alec Morrison won. So he won, he was like 18-pound lead. So he was
Right.
gonna win.
Yeah.
So I made it with 25th place. So I made the cut.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, so I won Angler of the Year. Like my kids were about to play some ball, like play a tournament on Saturday or games and stuff.
Right.
And I'm like, I barely, you know how you just know you barely catch them, like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I got it. I got my 5th Angler of the Year. I'm good to go. I walked up to Mark and I go, Mark, I'm not DQ'd or anything if I like give up my 25th spot, and I'll finish 26th, right? I'll still
Yeah.
make. He did the math. He's like, you're still going to win Angler of the Year. I said,
Yeah.
I'm gonna bow out.
Yeah.
Never done it before. This is like
Yeah.
2 years ago, or two or three, yeah, I think 23, something like that.
Yeah.
My buddy Rick Harris, I'm like, who's in 26? I'm like, oh, it's
Yeah.
Rick Harris. Like that's
Yeah.
like, heck yeah. So I
Yeah.
call up Rick. I said, don't go nowhere, dude. I'm not gonna fish tomorrow. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, trust me, dude. I'm over. I'm done. I've
Yeah.
been fishing like 18 days straight for
Yeah.
other events. So I'm like,
Yeah.
so I fished the event, or I walked up there and told all them guys, see y'all later. And they're like,
Yeah.
but the next day, Steven calls me up and he was like, oh, you missed a heck of a day. It blew 30. It was miserable.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and everyone, like, no one changed places. I'm like, I was like the entire day just sitting around watching my kids play. I'm like, best decision ever.
Oh, yeah.
I would have probably, the amount of money I would have spent to go fish the event and
Right.
the check, I'm like, I would have had to like caught him so good just to make an extra $500.
Yeah.
But I probably would have lost another 150, 200. You know what I'm saying? I was like,
oh yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
I will tell you, I'm telling you right now, if it comes down to that Saturday and I'm not like top 10,
Yeah.
there's a good
Jumping
chance.
out of it. Yeah.
I might, unless
Yeah.
unless I feel like I can. But if it's one of those deals where I'm like, just squeeze by,
Yeah. Just barely get in there.
I don't know. I hope that doesn't come down to that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd rather just finish 26th and go watch them play or like be leading it.
Oh yeah. 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 Man.
The softball, having two of them on the same team, watching, that's going to be tough. That's going to be
Yeah.
tough.
Well, that's what the little one, Lil doesn't even play soccer, and they're both on the same soccer team. And this is Lil's first time, and she scored a goal the other day, and everybody's high fiving her, and Dan went up and just punched her, like almost knocked her to the ground. I was like, oh God, you can't do that. But
Like mad?
yeah, she was mad because she hasn't scored any, I don't think, yet.
Oh no.
Oh man. But
That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, I appreciate you doing this with me.
Hey man, no problem, Todd. Yeah, we'll have to do it again, or maybe we'll go fishing. Hopefully, when I get out that way.
Yeah, anytime, man. Like
Yeah.
I'm always down for any of it.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
All right. Well,
Sounds
I appreciate
good.
it.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for having me on, and yeah, give me a shout sometime.
All right.
All right.
See you.
See
Hold
you.
on.